Everyone to our live stream here on Lee Chess and Twitch. International Master William Pascal, that's my name, that's right. Alright, forgot. Everyone pronounces it wrong. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Pascal, party of two. So, we've got subscriber stream on tap. This is our subscriber stream. 7 games. I'm a little unsure about one. This subscriber stream is basically a forum for our subscribers to submit games, and we analyze them here live on the stream. Schieber Spieler? Did I see Mr. Coffee? Mr. Coffee's here. Mr. Coffee with the bad jokes. That's weak, man. Did you make that up yourself? Bad bad political chess jokes. Self-made jokes. They're always the worst. Alright, we tried. We'll give you credit for trying, Mr. Coffee. Welcome, everybody. Mr. Coffee, at some point we should do it. We should do the poll for the opening positions for, but doesn't have to be tonight. You know, maybe we'll wait until the week of the week of the next. Yeah, maybe Sunday, for example. Definitely doesn't have to be tonight. We're only gonna do once a month. Excuse me, for thematic tournaments. Schieberspiel, you're unhappy to miss thematic tournament? Sorry about that. Snuggles the Snail is here with the frog cakes. Frog cakes for everyone. We've got Schieberspieler in the house. Princess Chess 64. Thanks to you guys. Princess Chess, regularly a sponsor of Sunday's Simul. Mr. Coffee. Asterbait, as always, is here. Schieberspieler, good to see you. So, tonight is subscriber stream analysis. I've got submissions from Yabadis, Warnaki, Tezake, Acerbate, Princess Chess, and Trip Chance. But there's one game that I'm not sure who that is from. We've a lot of gift subs in the last couple weeks. And so I don't know if like Sidecar versus Java certified. If you're Hungarian, you would say Java. Do you use Java? JavaScript? Anyway, Sidecar versus Java certified. I don't know if that's a subscriber or just like a random guest who submitted a game. So I'm waiting for confirmation on that before I go over that game. I need a confirmation that one of those players is a subscriber to the stream. Acerbate starts it off with 500 bits. For those that want a sneak peek into the candidates for the next thematic, Mr. Coffee has a study. Okay, thematic tournament on Tuesday. I'm going to do that once a month, it looks like. Sidecar, I don't know if they're a subscriber or not. Sidecar, if you're out there, let us know. Only subscribers can do game analysis. But a guest subscription counts. Alright. I've got a special treat for this hot weather this week. Raspberry flavored beer. Yes. Schieberspieler, how do you feel? I've got the Malna Sure going on. It's got a nice colorful pink Shaproni raspberry beer. I get shaken dry. Thank you. So, this has become a big trend here for the summertime, the last couple years. My first raspberry beer. Spectacular Camel has resubscribed for 28 months. Wow, that is a long time. Thank you, Asterbay, for getting the generous donations started. Why does my board look off? Bored with the board. Alright. I'm bored with this board. So the first game is Yabadis playing on his Smurf account. as Mr. Bites. Mr. Bites is black. We're going to get started. Welcome everyone to my subscriber stream. We're going over 10 games submitted by the subscribers. Still got room for 3 to 4 more, depending on game 5, if that's a real subscriber or a poser. Is Sidecar really a subscriber? E4 knight c6. What a surprise. Now, Yabatis has got me kind of interested in this playing this setup. It's not a Smurf. Alright, it's a Smurf for you, but it's not a Smurf for the site. It's on another site. I gotta get used to drinking this. Alright, we'll see. Taste test for Hungarian ale. Raspberry ale. E4 knight c6, knight f3 d6. So Yabatis has got me playing this myself. Man, I lost a game yesterday to a 1999 player. I lost a whole rook. I wanted to cry. It was like a blitz game. And I was, oh, whatever. You know, I wasn't paying attention carefully. And next thing I know, I had to lose a whole rook. Black has to be very cautious in these setups. So, White's mover, by the way, I mean, White really ought to play d4 directly. Okay, knight f3, d6, d4. Now, g6. Okay, g6 we talked about before. It's okay. But Yabatis doesn't like putting his knight on f6. I think this is the main move for black. Bishop g4 also has a dubious reputation. You can try this as well, but the main reliable move is knight f6. All right, in the Yabatis system, we don't do that. Now, Yabatis, you've played. Have you even played e5? Have you gone that far? Because that's risking going into like a Roy Lopez after bishop e5. Right, Schieberspieler, right. That's exactly right. You can sack a queen in this one line with e5. This is a famous trap. I remember this game. Actually, maybe not. I remember seeing this game Friedel versus Schibut in the database, at least. I wasn't there for the game. That's funny though. I've seen that. I've seen other players fall for that trap over the board. I think I saw. Man, I thought I saw Emery Tate fall into that. Something similar. Yeah, you can sack the queen here. So this is not that clear, right? Bishop takes d1, bishop e5 check, c6. I thought it was good for white. We never let the stockfish have a good look. We were really off the track here, though. This is very promising. In the hands of Schieberspieler, basically a forced win for white. This is most likely a correspondence game. It certainly is a correspondence game. So black is a pawn down with a bad structure. And he was unable to save the game. Though maybe Stockfish could have pulled out a draw here somehow. Alright. Anyway. It's not considered favorable to play bishop g4. That's probably the worst move of the options there. That is a nice trap, though. But if white is smart, they don't allow that. They play bishop e3. You know, I think this is the best, and white is just better, probably. Tezek, welcome. We got your game. Also, Warnaki, welcome. We got your game. If anyone has submitted a game and it's not in the list, let me know. G6. So one thing here is d5. I've had games involving like knight b8, queen d4. Probably that's not that great. White should just play like normal moves. c4. Let's see what his opponent does here. d5 indeed, knight b8. Don't do knight e5. Your structure is not worth it. You don't want to destroy your pawn structure. This Belazarov, I think I played here on Lee Chess. There's a game there. He was white and lost with this position. That's really crazy. Yeah, knight e5 is no good. Knight b8. Now c4 is the best move, but white instead tried the obvious queen d4. It works. It's playable. Knight e5 is playable, just bad. Anyways, knight f6. So the thing is, like, this queen on d4. It's an artificial display of strength, basically. It's basically like an animal like puffing itself up to make it look bigger, when it really doesn't have any real strength to it. Queen d4, it just puts the queen in an exposed position. I think it's not a good move. There may be some move orders where it's actually decent, but not in this position. I don't think this is appropriate. You see this sometimes in other lines, like the Accelerated Dragon. One or two lines of the Accelerated Dragon where queen d4 is not that great. So knight c3 also. I mean, what about c4? Should we play c4? Knight c3, bishop g7, and then e5. White goes directly with e5. I'm going to turn off the engine. It biases my analysis. So here we have an interesting possibility of pinning the diagonal. I'm getting like this weird casual challenge from someone. I don't do those. So most of the players who are in the list here are in the house. Yabatis, Warnaki, Tazake, Asterbait, Princess Chess, Dr. Tripchans. Actually, all the players are here. We do have room for a couple more submissions. So what do you do? D takes c5 is fine for black, but can we get more? The question would be, if like knight g4, bishop e5 check, for example, c6, that looks good. What about knight g4, bishop f4? For example, let's ask obvious question, knight d7, and then bishop e5, and then castles, and then bishop takes d7, for example, this type position. White has been able to maintain the e5 and not lose anything, and then he's going to kick the knight back. If we have nothing here, then white is fine. Dr. Tripchance, you're on the list. So what do you guys think? B. Maximus, welcome. I don't know. I had another Malna or raspberry beer last year that was good. But for me, it's not really beer, first of all. For me, this is more like cider. It's sweet. I was expecting more like a kind of beer, but it's more like a sweet, very sweet cider. A little sweet for my taste. But it's good on a hot day. Cooking Rooks is here. Cooking Rooks, we have a submission from you. Waiting for your submission. Seriously, does anyone have a final analysis of this? Because I don't. If we just capture everything, it's nothing. But black runs out of ways to put pressure on e5. I can play like c5. Well, it's actually white's move, so that's it. Boom, 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 boom. And white's white's at least equal. Yeah, but it's not convincing for black, is what I'm saying. The question is, did Yabatis do the right thing? Or not? Am I missing something here? This may be the correct move. If knight takes, I want to just castle, but maybe black has something better. I was thinking of this really weird moves that don't work. I want to play like knight takes d5, knight takes d5, knight c6. There's a stupid idea. unlikely that's going to work. Oh, knight c6 right away. Of course. The same thing, though. I mean, he'll probably have bishop b5. Well, I mean, the main thing is this. Knight c6 is playable. But after bishop b5, we still have a problem. Knight d7 now. Yeah, it's the Twilight Zone. And I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe black's better because white's pawn is overextended. Yo, in the previous, you want to just do knight c6? Then what? Yeah, this is clear, but black is going to win a pawn. Schieberspieler is going to successfully defend the white position. Oh, you meant that other position I was talking about. This funny line. This is basically a joke. And we're down a piece. So that's a bit of a problem. Anyway, it didn't work. I'm sure for more than one reason. So I don't see anything here better than castling. But it looks like c6 might be a move. Knight c6 is a move. Castles is the best. Knight c6, bishop b5 is a problem. It turns out. So castles, bishop e2, very safe move. But he's staying in the pin. Maybe it's not a very safe move. So maybe here? Nah. No, this is tricky for white. It's very tricky for white. What's he supposed to do? He has problems with this pawn and the queen being on the diagonal. Flicker Alex, welcome. It seems like a lot of issues. So we still have the queen paralyzed on the diagonal. The knight c6 move is still possible, right? And that's what happened. Knight c6, knight c6, bc6, and then white just like lost his mind. But he has to do something. What do you want the guy to play here? I mean, your queen is on the diagonal, and we're threatening d5. So I guess it's kind of hard to come up with a move. There just isn't a good move. He just lost the pawn for nothing. But it's not a big deal. It's just like the most important pawn on the board. This just wins the game, essentially. I mean, I don't see a defense, even in this position. There's nothing he can do, right? He's just lost. Just don't tell me he's going to castle queenside. You know, objectively, right, white should play queen h4, no? And aim at a kingside attack. Maybe some sort of bishop g5 or bishop h6. If you're going to move the queen somewhere, right, let's say pawn takes. I admit white doesn't really have an attack, but he can sort of pretend. This is also a problem. I mean, white's lost, theoretically. I just don't want to see him castling queenside to make it worse. this pawn. No problem. This is crazy. Can't do that. So I guess this is kind of a trap based on the idea of queen b6, knight takes c8. He probably looked at knight like queen b6 and queen c7. He came to the conclusion that he was okay. I'm not even 100% sure about this though. This looks pretty dangerous. Nothing a little flex tape can't fix. Yeah, I don't know about this either. I mean, this doesn't look safe. So even the simple queen c7. This is a very logical move though. The knight is now paralyzed. So I guess queen a6. Queen a6, queen c7. White has bishop a5 coming in. So you didn't play queen c7. You had the secret move. And that's what happened. The secret move happened. Queen b8. Anybody who's played the Nimzovich, Spectacular Camel says, congrats on playing the Williams successfully. You've got in the move queen b8. That's the secret of the so-called Williams variation. To get queen b8, because we know so many times where white plays like bishop takes c6 and bc and the doubled pawns. This queen idea, white only counted on queen c7 when he has bishop a5, by the way. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this is good for black too. What am I talking about? Now I'm getting confused. No, on queen c7, white has knight b5. But actually this wins as well. Yeah, maybe this wins as well. But I mean, this is just more direct. I guess queen c7 wins as well. Let's check. Yeah, I'm like heaping praise on Yabatis. We have to make it sound good for the show. The really obvious truth is that white is just completely hosed here. It doesn't really matter if he goes to c7 or b8. It was like white is insane to get in this position in the first place. What did he do? He played a5 early? No. Sorry, Bornaki. There was no a5. No, queen c7. He just goes, you know, the queen c7 variation. Knight b5. It just amounts to the same thing. You're still just... Now the queen is actually just trapped on a6. Not to mention the knight's going to fall. Even if your queen could theoretically go to, I don't know, g3 or something, you're going to lose a piece. So everything's lost. White sacked a piece. He's hopelessly lost. Now getting crushed on the e-file. This is why we play this opening. And you're just opening lines. Black deals in development. Good luck with that. We deal in development. Alright, good game. White was rather inexperienced. Why did the 1900 players I lose to have to play the white side of Nimzovich well? Yabatis is lucky. I don't know, he's just lucky. Now we get Warnaki playing black. e4, d6. It's another Pearts. d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6. Thanks everyone for joining us. Tonight's subscriber stream, I'm going over up to 10 games submitted by our subscribers, as I do every week. I'm International Master William Pascal, American based here in Hungary. We're in Budapest. So now white plays an unusual move. I mean, this is a lot like when white plays bishop d3 in the King's Indian. The problem with this, it's not only that the bishop itself is obstructed. I mean, it's kind of a hybrid between the King's Indian and the Sicilian. The bishop itself is obstructed by its own pawns. I mean, that's why like white doesn't play bishop d3 in the Najdorf. Secondly, the pawn on d4 lacks support, and that's usually a big problem in the King's Indian, like Sarawon variation. Black's constantly putting pressure with the knight. So, actually, one option here for black is to go. What would Yabatis do? Yevgeny Boguslavsky is Schieberspieler here. Yevgeny Boguslavsky game. Yeah, you can play knight c6, putting pressure on this. Obviously, if knight f3, bishop g4. Habibi played bishop g7, but why? I mean, I would think this would just be a good move. But why? You don't have a queen sack in this position, do you? We just looked at this. This is Schieberspieler's favorite opponent. Can we do it here? It works here, but it's not as good, according to the engine. Anyway, white didn't play knight f3. He did play knight f3. The black didn't play knight c6. So Warnaki, you don't like knight c6? No, the idea would be knight e2, actually. This is a problem. No, this is a problem. It's not a good line. The Baramidze, when he was a kid variation. No, this might be a slight problem. I guess it's okay for black, though, right? Knight c6 is okay. Dirk played e5. This seems okay. You can't go here. The e4 pawn is protected, probably. Unless you want to be really funky. Bishop c4, knight takes e4. I don't think this is going to work. I mean, there is a weird line there, actually. Like bishop c4, d5. It's probably playable. It's playable for black, actually. Only slightly better for white. Bishop b5 check, c6, a3, knight takes c2 check, of course. And this. Now there's a problem. You have to do check, knight back. Yeah, this isn't that bad, strangely. Alright, Warnaki, I don't know how you feel about knight to c6. Spectacular Camel, your fetishes about not developing your knight to f6 are bordering on Asterbate playing like bishop c4, a3, b4, rook c1, bishop a2, bishop b1, queen d3, something like that. You're a setup fetishist. We can't try to force our will on every position. Alright, e5. Anyways, black didn't play knight c6. Bishop g7. Okay. So, I mean, can white still transpose to the Austrian attack? I guess the biggest question would be f4, right? What's the problem with f4? It's a modified move order. So we can light him up with some kind of Pirk alert. Seriously, is this a bad move order? Because white has played bishop d3 before knight f3? That's serious here. This is important shit. Like, you have to know what to do now on f4. Do you light him up with a c5? I don't think that's a very good idea, Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen 28-48 versus Udit. No, but I mean, c5 is a normal move. Knight c6 is the other obvious try. Can we specifically take advantage of white's position? Yeah, like Udit got demolished, probably. No, this move order is inaccurate. I don't know what she was doing. Knight c6, knight f3. Black had benefited from not castling somehow with the move order. Yeah, see, this king still being here. We got faster pressure on the white center. That move order is inaccurate. So f4 isn't really right. I think the best is some kind of, yeah, boring variation like this. Man, I was on Facebook yesterday, and I gotta say, like, Judith Polgar's fan page, or whatever it is like, if they airbrushed her photo anymore, she would look like a glamour model or something. It's really out of control. It's just, I guess everyone does that, but it's so obvious with her. It's just absurd. It doesn't even look like the same person. You can't turn Judith Polgar into a fashion model. I'm sorry, like, it just looks stupid. Be real. Alright, bishop g1, knight g1, bishop g7, knight f3, castles. So now you're playing the classical Pierce with the bishop on the wrong square. So I think now you got, again, knight c6 or bishop g4 are both good. What isn't good here? The only thing that isn't good is like the b6, b5, bishop e7 plan, because the one thing white is good at here is control of e4. White has e4 overprotected. Dr. Tripchance, I might have to time you out for that, just for even putting that thought in my head. Ugh. Ugh. Alright. Some things are better left unsaid, man. It was definitely an airbrush photo. Yeah, let's just keep our thoughts to ourselves. Alright, no substitute for good taste. But seriously, knight c6. Now white played bishop e3. No, I don't think you should castle. This is more funky. We can transpose to Boguslavsky versus Habibi. If you don't like that, I guess castles, there's nothing wrong with it. But there's also bishop g4. Which is probably okay for black. Played by Alexander Chernin, author of Pirt's Alert. Keep it in the private chat. Bishop g4 is a normal move. The only thing I don't like here is, again, as I said, like b6. This doesn't have a lot of effect because white's so strong on e4. I like to do that if the white bishop is on e2, for example. a6 is a great line. a6, b5, bishop e7, or b6, bishop e7 with pressure on e4. So there's something weird about these two bishops. Usually, that doesn't happen. Saturday. Tezek is funny. Mr. Coffee, we need like a command for Saturday. Like, get the F out of here. Get a life. Or something like that. Pops up if you do like Saturday command. Now Warnaki will be scolded for playing like anti-dynamic chess. Anti-dynamic, old school. This can often be like fatally disastrous if white has e5, e6, breaking up the structure. for example. But I think in this case, we're probably okay. Anti-dynamic, I can't come up with something better. Routine. Routine and sort of droll. There's a new word for today. Your new English vocabulary word for today. Droll. 97 is droll. It's not modern. That's like the way they played it in the 30s. When they first discovered the Peart's defense in King's Indian. Notice that no one played 97 here. Okay, is this a problem? Probably not. Is 97 that bad? It's probably not. But we're not taking advantage of White's position either. I don't think E5 works. It's equal. Karsten Hoy. So, Queen D2. White has interest in castling queenside. Listen, can this transpose to a 150 attack? Is that what White is doing? He's transposing to a 150 attack. Was H3 necessary there? What is the 150 attack exactly? Are you supposed to play H3 at some point to stop knight G4? Is that necessary? You know, I think this is a normal move. Yeah, E5. Yawn. It's just a position. Yeah, I think White is like slightly better. Probably. After pawn takes pawn. Mastrovich. No, this is fine. Gormali. White doesn't have much here. Gormali castled. The guy took the white square bishop. And now CD. Interesting game. But black is close to equal here. B6. Queen D2. Daniel. Anyways. You know, black doesn't have to take that bishop either. Maybe better to wait on that exchange on D3. So, let's see what happens. White didn't play H3, he plays this. What can we do about it? C5. Yeah, move 11. It looked like CD was the right recapture. That's the computer was calling for, and Gormali played that. He must be pretty strong. He's very whiny on Facebook, but he's not a bad player. Though I think he quit Facebook. He was angry about everything. That's a bad sign. Time to quit. If everything you post is like negative. Seem like in general, grumpy person. So knight on BD7, then C5. This is not good. Karsten Hoy. We trust in Karsten Hoy. I mean, this is a classic setup. And then maybe B6, bishop B7, depending on what happens. Rook E8. Maybe we don't do B6, we can still do C6. I think that's better. When I see what game. B Maximus, what game? So I don't like this Warnaki. You know, at the end of the day, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe you're talking him out of castling queenside. If that was your goal, you know, this might talk him out of castling queenside. You get a kind of Benoni. Is it that bad, though? And I've been harsh, kind of harsh here in my commentary, but I mean, is it that bad? Is C5 that bad, actually? Is this a thing? Probably not, right? I mean, that looks wrong. taking is nothing because you take with the knight. The main question is sitting pat. That's a term we used to use when I was playing poker for dimes with my friends. 5-card draw. They don't play 5-card draw anymore. 7-card draw. I stand pat. When you have like 5-card draw and you don't want to draw a card, you're like, everyone looks at you. You have a straight or a made flush. White just has to stand pat here in the center. I guess d5 isn't bad, but this is another question. No, in fact, d5 probably is a reasonable move. Either keep the tension or d5. h3. This is probably okay for black. It's a Sicilian now. So d5 is the best move. Alright, not standing pat. We're taking space. Now does Warnaki have a bad Benoni with the knight on d7? Like, where's our counterplay coming from here? a6 can be stopped easily with a4, and e6 is really dicey, speaking of dice. Well, I mean, you have a Benoni, Warnaki, but is it a good one? That's the problem. You may have a very bad one. What about rook e8? You played e6 right away. Rook e8. Let's see. I'm nervous about this diagonal. And knight g5. Perhaps it's not a problem. Like take, bishop c4. You have knight b6. What about this? These two pawns, these sort of hanging pawns look funky. If there you have this. There is the pawn sack. Maybe this is a problem. To break the structure. Does anyone have a suggestion about e5, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I recommend e5. The classic structural sacrifice. I'm not sure I like this anymore. Because this bishop is totally condemned. What do we do? You want to play knight g4? Alright. I guess there white has bishop g5. Which should be considered. Then you have queen b6. Unclear. What about, let's just do it. Then I gotta just do it. Do it to it. I suspect white is better. Let's see what the oracle says. Oof, it was like 2. It's like a scale. It's going down to 1.5. So, as I suspected, knight takes e5, trading pieces because we're cramped. This is the best continuation. Black is in trouble. But perhaps it's not that bad. This looks like the best. Seriously, I like knight takes because we're trading pieces and you're kind of a little restricted. One set of pieces is not a big deal. I'll buy what the computer recommends here. Black is worse. So that's the best line. The master positional move isn't the best according to Stockfish though. Man, it has all sorts of moves. Stockfish is claiming that bishop e2 is like clear advantage. This reminds me of... Yeah. These pawns are soft. You got to be very careful. That's one reason why I wanted to play rook e8. Because if you play rook e8, you can play e6 and then recapture with a rook on e6. Maybe. It looks fishy. That's the problem with your position, Warnaki. Normally in the Schmid-Benoni, you would have like your knight on b8 and take back with the bishop here on e6. Alright, let's see. He does bishop e6. Sorry, bishop h6. Yeah, you're good now. Just take. So white gets a weak pawn on d5, and their king is not cleared the center. Check. Problem. So, you've got a great structural advantage in that pawn there. Now what? Trading pieces. This knight on d7 is no friend of our side. I mean, another like normal Benoni idea is something like this. But I'm not sure here I like it as much as in the normal c4 Benoni. Well, you could just play c3 and kill the pressure on the queen side. I mean, this is better for white, probably slightly. Not much. So what about knight e5? Looks okay. And I like your game. This is a weakness. You're no longer restricted. You traded 2 sets of pieces, it changes everything in the position. Just change 2 sets of pieces and she doesn't know how to play. That's exactly what I mean here. The whole objection to your position was the knight on d7 and the cramped nature. Now everything's okay. Bishop f5 is okay. It can be attacked there, you know, so you might want to consider this just to play for like b5. White is clearly going to play f4 and kick you out. So objectively, I think, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the right idea is trading more pieces with knight e4. If knight e4, you're at least equal. Bishop g4 is an masturbate move. That's weird. You're just like playing for bizarre complications, I would think. It's a mistake. I mean, that is his worst piece, actually. I think it's a mistake, Dr. Tripchance. You have pawns on dark squares there, and his center is fixed on a white. Probably that piece, you know, I'd like to keep on the board. Here we trade the knights, and your bishop comes to d7. It has good scope. Your central pawns are on c5 and d6. If anything, it's like the white square bishop is kind of blocked by his pawn on d5. I don't know. I'd like to trade a piece, but maybe not that one. This is much better. Black is slightly better here. Maybe only equal, but he's certainly not worse. The computer claims 0.3 better for black after 94. It's the best move. So I still know something about chess. Bishop f5 could get you in trouble if it starts getting attacked or something inconvenient. It still looks like a decent move. I think f4, right? I don't know. He doesn't have to play f4. But white is slightly worse. So this is like unnecessary. You don't need to play b6. Queen b6, queen e7 to triple. Even queen a5 looks reasonable. b6 is a slow move, costly. You're giving him a whole move there. Now he actually usurps control of the e-file. b6 was a serious mistake. You're going from better to worse. Now you're going to have to like just equalize. That's mental. That's totally mental. Your king is almost getting mated now. How can anyone not play queen c3 check? You have rook e5. What do you do? You know, you're like pinned. If you play g5, he'll play h4. And then what? h6, g3. This could like fall apart very easily for you. But honestly, rook takes here, here. Why here? Why not just take? He doesn't have anything here. First of all, bishop takes, right? Get rid of that crappy bishop. And after bishop takes, now you can decide whether you want to play for a draw or play for a win. Maybe now a human player with white can lose this. You know, computer is like never losing with a bad bishop. But for a human, definitely. Queen a4. Man, you've got a great game here. This is totally the wrong way to exchange. And now your king is vulnerable. And now it's just totally fine again. This looks really strong, actually. Queen e5. Queen e5's okay. And then back. You're just better now. This is a bad exchange. Your bishop is superior. He's got 4 pawns on. It's how I lost to Magnus Carlsen. This sort of structure. The 7-pawn queen ending. Take the bishops off the board and play like f4 for me. But now I can pin you. Man, this guy is like not even paying attention. I guess here he can't though. You have a trick. No, he has this. Yeah. Queen e2, queen f6, and your queen guards there, so he wins a piece. How can you not see that? In any case, like changing bishops, he doesn't want to trade his bishop. Okay, maybe not now. Jeez. Bishop b1. Not a good idea. Wait, that's check here. Your bishop has no squares, man. Well, it does have b1, but it's very trappable. You know, this is an interesting position. I guess I would take with the b pawn. Yeah, now your king is vulnerable again. No, I mean, you should take with the b pawn here. You're better. Seriously better. But this whole play with your bishop on e4 with your bad bishop, it's been very touch and go. I mean, it gets trapped too easily. I can't believe he declined to trade it off before. He made a lot of weird moves. Like, why not play queen c3 check here? I guess he sets up bishop takes d5. For example. He might have 2 pawns hanging after bishop d5 and queen f2. Yeah, you're crazy, man. So here clearly you had queen f2. White's like lost. White's lost. At this point. Now you have g5. And that's a problem. Then king e3. Oh my god. So g5, lights out. Bishop f1 doesn't save him. Queen check, king e3. This is covered. You're threatening his bishop and the mate him in one. And queen g3 check. Takes, takes. If king takes, d6, bishop c6. You're winning. I don't know if he has another move. Does it matter? It's just winning. Yeah, it was winning. So here, you were brave enough to play queen g7, king f4, but after queen h6 check, yeah, you just didn't see he had this king e3 thing. And there's no checks. Oh, I'm lying, but he does have this check. So it's not completely over. He has a check, actually. There's this. This is a little messy. Check. Here. Check. I guess eventually you escape. Check. King e5. You know, you would be winning. It's going to take some work. If you have no time left, then a draw is a reasonable result. Alright, lots of mistakes by both sides there, though. I thought it was a very instructive game to talk about. B. Haggith versus Tezek. Welcome everyone to the stream. Thank you, Astrobay, for donating earlier 500 bits. We had Flickr Alex hosted with one viewer. What other events? Super B Worth X has followed. Resub from Spectacular Camel. Be right back with you for a second here. Alright, third game, Tezek versus B. Haggith. So you played f3. Now we had played previously Tezek in this variation. I don't know it that well. But I think there's a couple different ways for black to play. The thing is, yeah, Queen B6 is all the rage. This is all the rage now. Well, you know, this diagonal is the thing. There's this also the fact that we're attacking B2. But I feel like the main thing is this diagonal. Trying to exploit that diagonal. And so there's all sorts of ideas, mainly with E5. Frankly, like there's some interesting ideas. Even E5 directly has been played by Milodinovich, specialist in kind of offbeat stuff. On the other hand, I've played like kind of old school sort of solid setups. E6, this is coming down here, indirectly threatening the E4 pawn. So white plays knight C3, guarding that pawn, and then like bishop B4. More Winawer-like French pressure, essentially on that. So there's a couple of different ways that black can play. You know, and this line, what we saw recently in the candidates tournament. I mean, I'm a little surprised to see them playing that. You know, it seems like this variation, at least according to the engine, is like decent for white. So I was not thinking that would be what would happen when this game was played in the recent candidates tournament. I think it was it Vachier versus someone? There was a game in the candidates tournament in this line. Knight f3, I guess, bishop g4, I can't remember. I don't remember who played it. But I'm surprised. I mean, I admit, like, this type of line, let's say, that's kind of passive but solid for black, may not appeal to everyone. But I mean, if you're like a player who plays open games in sharp positions, why are you playing the Caro-Kann in the first place? You know. Anyways, so that didn't happen. Black instead played knight f6. Napo versus Alexienko. Okay, it was someone against Alexienko. I remember that spectacular camel. I'm pretty sure that Alexienko was black. So the knight f6 is just like a move that people play when they don't know the theory. It's like French style. Well, normally e5, knight d7, and f4. And if black plays e6, it transposes to the classical French. You know, maybe black has something else there. You see, there's some games with c5. That's reminded me of Spectacular Camel playing white. Yeah, but mostly people don't play knight f6. So you're supposed to play e5 here. What about this, though? I mean, take... This is some gambit, you know. Black Mardimer is stupid. Now, if f takes e5, and we can transpose to a form of that other line, for example. But I really think, like, this is the move. You got to play it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any other options. It's a good question. There is no other option, really. Well, your other option is this stupid gambit, which I think is unsound. Rudolf Spielmann. This is not the position for e6, though. Wow, someone actually played this against Gunina. The young Gunina. But f3 is not... f3 is not cool. f3 is just lame. It's just a lame move for white. It would be better to not have played f3. Frankly, I think our position would just be better if we hadn't moved that at all. Here. Anyway, so bishop d3. This looks good for black. In fact, aren't you just really pushing the envelope? White can't benefit from the white squares quickly after e6. Yeah, I was thinking maybe if you want to look at that one last time, rigor mortis. White can't benefit from the white squares easily, that's true. But there's sometimes maybe like a positional way to play. Maybe we could play and just like squeeze the e5 square. Rather than playing for something quickly, it's more like, yes, long-term compensation. We play for knight f3, bishop d3, just have control over e5. Black can probably break out pretty fast, though. The Pomniachi Mikhail. It runs in the family. I actually don't know if there's any relation between them, but just kind of funny. f3 is popular with the Pomniachis against Nukim Rashkovsky, who I saw a game from earlier today. Veteran Grandmaster. I think black will break out here. Compared to the advanced variation, black's chances seem fine if he knows what he's doing in this type of line. c3. Oh, this is the wrong game. Wow, the other guy went h4, psychopath. He made a draw. Speaking of attacking the white squares, that's some aggressive chess there by Mikhail. So anyway, there's a possibility. Anyways, this is how it would go. The game went bishop d3, so I don't understand how black isn't taking here. Why is your opponent not taking this pawn? He was afraid of the scary gambit possibilities after queen d4. Queen d4, knight f3, queen d8, I guess. But I don't buy this for white. I am taking that pawn, and I'm not going to give it back. So I don't think this is going to work. Like, you have to take this, which is gross. And then he takes your bishop, and he take this, and then e5. And there's a huge problem here with the h4 check and the pressure on d4. So you probably have to play knight f3. And you'd be like literally groveling for a draw at best in this position. Move 11. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for being a supporter. We've got game analysis. Is there anyone else submitting a game? B Maximus came in with game 8. I still don't know about game 5. White's close to busted. It looks bad. I mean, this is a really, really bad ending. This is kind of like awful. Bishop pair and the better structure for black. +1. It was right on the +1 when I called it, but it's gone down. The computer is more optimistic about white's chances than I was. It's like +half a pawn. My first reaction by the computer was a pawn up. Black bounces the position by giving a pawn. Black is just rocking. So anyway, I don't understand. He didn't do it. He played e6. E6 is ugly. I see dead people. Maybe bishop g5 you can get away with. Yeah, I mean, queen b6 is usually bad. But I'm thinking pawn takes. This is hanging again. So you have to take with the bishop. And then maybe queen b6 or something of that sort. Black has to be better. But again, maybe white can grovel his way to a draw somehow. Queen a5 check is interesting too. That might help white's development, actually. I'm going to go with queen b6. Computer is simply playing bishop e7. Wow, the compacto. Stockfish is like, whatever. I'm playing the Kali system. We're just better. Man, what about queen b6? It's also good. White sacks the b pawn. I hate taking those poison pawns. What about c5? We played old. What if we play old school style here? Like a real French style. c5 is good, man. That's good too. Yeah, Tezek, this is just not good. It's just not a good position. You're lucky. Black played very passively. Bishop e7. Now you should really consider e5. In this case, let's see, is this going to be a problem? You could play like move 11. He favors bishop f4 in this type of structure normally. I'm just kidding around. At the expense of one of our wonderful viewers. Try to keep the pieces on the board. Space outweighs the concept of good bishop, bad bishop here. I'm a little concerned, though. I think we're probably on the verge of getting overextended. It's tricky, man. Alright, maybe white needs to just chill. And knight c3. You always have to watch these Sicilian tactics now. With the knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes c3. Bishop d8, knight takes d1. And then taking this. The escape hatch. Yeah, the pawn on f3 is not helping us here. So knight d2 avoids those tactics, perhaps, but this pawn, man, nothing's protecting that pawn. Is this guy gonna calculate, maybe, for one move? Pawn takes. Your opponent, like, refuses to calculate even one move. It's like, no, I categorically, like, refuse to calculate anything. Pawn takes, queen takes d4, knight f3. Maybe, you know, we don't take another pawn, we just go home. Again, like, black's up a pawn here, white doesn't have enough compensation. You have to do something or white's going to be better. He just continues to play passively. So, what about bishop e3? Got to give this some consideration. This exchange is possible, but man, you have a lot of weaknesses on the dark squares. I am, you know, if the dark squares open up, you're dead, man. But it does look a lot like a Trompowsky now. I think bishop e7 is best. This is just a little bit of a weird move. Probably provocative. Maybe it's better than I thought. Bishop g5, interesting. There's no f4. h4 is kind of weakening. I guess knight e2, though. Probably cast out on it. That's what you did. Yeah, this is the refutation of bishop g5. Essentially the refutation. Knight e2. Oh, bishop e3. You're going to get trapped by knight f1. Draw? Out for a draw. You have this. So much for the draw. Bishop e3 taking this pawn and then check. Takes on d4. So I have to defend. Yeah, bishop e3 is interesting. It might just work. But definitely his best chance. Yeah, it looks cool. Of course there, if we go down this variation, right, like c3, c5, knight f1, cd5, cd5, bishop d4, knight d4, queen h4, check, g3, here, check. This could be a problem, for example. So this requires a lot of calculation. Black should not play bishop g5. Think about the way he played the whole game. You know, afraid to calculate, and then he goes bishop g5. Now he gets pushed back, and now white has a good Trompowsky. This is just a good Trompowsky. The bishop is buried at c8 now. So the bishop pair is really not an advantage at all. Well, it's like not really an advanced variation. It's more like a kind of classical or Rubinstein. What is it called? I don't know. When you play bishop g5 for white, does that have a name? Just the side variations all have names. Queen e2 looks good. Castles is good. And now he does a5, threatening bishop a6. Yeah, you like on the scale of aggression, this player is like a 3, 2.5. He's a passive kind of guy. I mean, you have f5, and you did it. It's just strong. Beautiful. And so now, this is reinforced. We can take and leave a bad rook on a6. Or maybe we start migrating for a direct kingside attack. But why exchange on e6 right away? Do you have a concrete idea? Are you just winning e6? Oh my god, you're just winning e6. Are you sure? No, c3 is bad. Take this off. Leave his rook in a bad position where it's unprotected. Then you play knight f4. Now he has no way to protect this pawn except for bishop g5. And when you take this, if he tries queen g5 to pin you here, you have queen d3. Winning the rook on a6. Rook f4. Queen a6. Game over. So it looks like it's just winning. f5, this is a good strategic plan. But c3 is too passive. Yeah, I mean, you see a target, attack it. If he doesn't have a defense, he's lost. This is like his whole pawn chain will fall apart. But otherwise, I wouldn't play f takes. I mean, why would you make this exchange unless you know that it works? So, for example, you could try to increase the pressure by knight f4 if you wanted to. There's no advantage in releasing the tension necessarily for white, unless there is, you know. Because you have other stuff. You might have an f6. Maybe f6 just kills him. On the spot, actually. I didn't consider this. He has no choice. If he sacks a piece for 2 pawns, he's lost anyway. So this is forced. And then queen h6. Threatening mate. He has to take. Perhaps black could defend this position. This is really, really strong. Rook e8, however, allows for bishop f8. Maybe there's a small chance that black could survive. Let me see. The oracle says it's over. Knight f4, bishop f8, queen h4 or h3. Student body attack. You have g4. If f5, this is going to be like very strong. So that's also winning for you. So the computer likes both variations, both completely winning. But this is too slow. Now maybe you're still winning because that e6 pawn is so difficult to defend. So again, I don't know. Takes here. Let's, for argument's sake, say c4, queen here, b5. That's not the end of the story, but we also have knight f4. Again, bishop g5. He does have b5 there. I mean, it's ugly, but if it defends, it defends, you know. Maybe this exchange is bad, but I don't know how else to do it. So I don't see a forced win anymore. Yeah, this knight is not as good as f4, ideally. However, this now entry into g6 is a very serious threat. So queen e8. Played b5. Hope chess. Hope chess, actually, he's trying to play... Yeah, he's defending e6 laterally. But man, he's toast now. Queen e8 looks like the only move to me. Now maybe this can put up some resistance. I mean, white is clearly better, but are you winning? I'm not so certain anymore. If he keeps you off of g6, he keeps your knight off of h5. It's going to be a lot of work to try to win this position again. Welcome everyone to my stream. JNS just submitted a game. Subscribers to the stream are welcome to submit games. But it's only for the subscribers, don't forget. JNS was a subscriber. Alright, open. Let me add this to our study. Back to the study. So we're only on game 2. Gee, it's game 3, excuse me. Alright. Let me get to the final area of the game here. He allowed the queen to get to g6. b5, queen g6, lateral defense. Oh my god, man. I don't think he was aware of the threat of knight h5. I'm guessing. But he's also just like dropping e6 with check. Clearly black has to defend, so I guess rook a6. But this is crushing. There's no good defense. Rook f7. But the rook can be taken out by this. So knight g5, right? That's a beautiful finish. If I've ever seen one. That's essentially what's about to happen. Wow. So queen g6, cd4, double question mark. Knight h5, rook f7, knight g5. Exactly. There's no defense. Oof. One of the ways to checkmate black there. Good game. Alright. So Asterbait, fan favorite, is with us next. Thanks everyone for supporting the stream. I'm International Master William Pascal, streaming at this time every week. We do our game analysis for the subscribers. Up to 10 subscriber games will be analyzed live on stream. I have next Princess Chess, Trip Chance, B Maximus, JNS. You do have to be an active subscriber to the stream. There is room for 1 or 2 more. Alright, this is Asterbait playing black. So d4, knight f6, c4, c5, Benoni. No! Alright, this is the first time recently we've seen Asterbait face this. English symmetrical. So you did what I figured you would do. You reverted to accelerated dragon. Asterbait probably doesn't remember, but a long time ago, I try to teach people to play this gambit. We take an e5, but nobody listens to me. I don't know why it is. For some reason, no one wants to play this. It's a very, very good gambit for black. I played once with white, and I would never want to go into these lines. Like, black can kind of take the initiative fairly early. So, the idea is positional pawn sacrifice. e5, knight b5, d5. Pawn takes, closing the file. Then we play bishop c5, and we kind of play like a Nimzovician style pawn sack with e4. Almost like we're white in a French defense. Nimzo used to sacrifice a pawn with white in the advance. It could become like an advanced French reversed. Anyway, Asterbait, I think that would be fun. more of a hack and slash. It happens so rarely we forget when it comes up. Yeah, Astrobate is not one for really memorizing opening moves. That's not his thing. G6, Knight C3, Bishop G7. Now it's a Marazzi. So this is not objectively Black's best way to play. But it's something that would have come up in his games anyway. So, you know, it's kind of like when you face the Smith-Morra Gambit and you transpose to the C3 Sicilian. The C3 Sicilian is much worse than... the Smith-Morra Gambit is much worse than the C3 Sicilian objectively. But a lot of people are lazy to have to spend time to learn it. So instead they just, like, transpose. One last thing to learn. You know, kind of the same thing here. But this is definitely advantageous for white. The Marazzi is a headache. Castles, F3. That's an early move and unnecessary. I don't know if black has any way to take advantage of it. If there were theoretically a way to take advantage of this, it would probably be something like, I don't know why I'm stuttering. I've never done a BBB before. But E6, D5. You know, if we could bust that center open. Normally white doesn't play F3 for no reason in these type of setups. So if you really want to go out and try to punish this, if you could bust it open with D5, you know, it's theoretically possible. Yes, there are risks involved. But I'm feeling lucky, punk. If E5, Knight E8, and we're going to crack it anyway with D6, I don't know. This is kind of cool. Is E6 a move? I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. D5 any. It's definitely an aggressive way to play. I think it exploits white's move order. It's an attempt to exploit white's move order. Interestingly, there's only 5 games in the Opening Explorer. It is the #1 move by Stockfish. Wow. But I'm trying to teach you guys how to be incisive in the opening. When your opponent makes a strange move, you know, i.e. F3 here, we don't want to just automatically transpose to what we know, you know. I mean, it's best to try to be critical in your thinking. Why do people not play F3 in this type of position? What's wrong with F3? You know, he's lagging in development. What if we open up position? Our king is castled already. If we can open the center while our king is castled, his king is chilling on E1. I've won a lot of games with black in the Samish King's Indian and the F3 Nimzo, for example, where my opponent never got his king out of the center. I mean, this is a very dangerous queen pawn game, practically, I would call it. It looks like a Samish King's India. In fact, it could transpose. Alright, anyway, Astrobate. Astrobate played E6. The man is a genius. Congratulations. I don't read ahead in the moves, so I actually didn't know. I mean, it's possible. It's like the time that I thought I saw Bruce Willis. I thought I saw Bruce Willis, and then he appeared on a billboard next to the bus stop. It was a really weird experience. We don't know what happened first. Did I really see Bruce Willis? Or did I just like glance at that billboard subconsciously, unconsciously, prior to seeing the billboard with Bruce Willis? You'll never know. A lot of Hollywood movies are being filmed here, sometimes in Budapest. Blade Runner, for example. Harrison Ford was here. Everyone liked him a lot. I don't know about Bruce Willis, but Astrobate played E6, man. Good job. Now Bishop E3. Oleg Chernikov was an old expert in the hyper-accelerated dragon, Astrobate. And I remember he was still playing in this era. 1999, I played in a tournament in Bad Besse in Germany. He played in the same group. Oh, it was an open. Older player. But he was always like an old school. You can find really old games of his in the G6 on move 2, Sicilian. But no, you're messing around. You're like, there's no time for niceties like A6. You're farting around too much. Astrobate, you're obsessed with A6, I would say. You may be able to transpose some other kind of hokey sort of... I mean, it's probably the second or third best move for black here, but I'm going to go with Chernikov's move. I think you got to do D5. That's why we played E6. And white has to try to keep it closed. What about CD? Why E5 right away? Why not CD, ED? Do we have rook E8 here? No. No. Yes. Boom. I had this crazy King's Indian with another very old player, Arthur Bisgeyer. I hope I could find that game. It was a really interesting game. I haven't seen it since like 1991. Yeah, Astrobate is afraid of knight coming to b5. He learned his lesson. Dude, black is better here. Yikes. So the best line is e5, keeping the line, keeping the position closed. Wow. And this is Chernikov. Knight e8. And now the engine says f4 is the best move. Damn, f6. You gotta be hardcore, hyper-accelerated dragon player to go in for this. That guy had a lot of experience playing that opening like his whole life. Move 11. Of course. Move 11 might like this. I feel like it's a hybrid between the Sicilian and the accelerated dragon. So Astrobate instead played a6. There's still a chance to transpose to some kind of like... yeah, queen c7 might yet transpose to a type of like con Sicilian. Bang. White's a little more well developed now. I think his reaction should be the same though. E5. This is not as bad though. It's like after CD, CD, E5, we no longer have tricks based on the file. For example, just moving that one pawn to A6 costs us some valuable time. White's king is one move away from castling queenside, 2 moves away from castling kingside, and he can go to F2 in a pinch. Move 11, feel free to submit a game to Yabatis or myself. We'll put it in the study. So he exchanged, and then he did the unthinkable. King in the center, king safe. What do? You keep the position closed. Astrobate's opponent played bishop h6. Oh, no, you didn't. Yeah, he played bishop h6. Sorry. Bishop h6. Allowing the deadly knight takes e4. The King's Indian trick. I'm not sure if it's good. Let's check it out. Knight e4. Knight e4. Is that right? Queen h4 check. This looks pretty good. Acer's not used to that queen h4 check, probably. I recognize it from the King's Indian. See, that's where there's sort of like themes that carry over. Move 11 gifted a tier 1 to Sonic Walden. Thank you, Move 11. Thank you very much, my friend. Generous, thanks for supporting the stream, guys. Keep it running during these crazy pandemic times. It's getting harder to keep a chess stream going. Alright. Move 11 versus Metronome. How's that for a handle and a play on words? It can be metronome. All right, menu. Oh no, move 11. I can't get it. Can you make me like a member of that study, and I'll try to grab it, or send it to you, Bodice. Metronome TM. Move 11 likes wordplay. So knight takes e4 astrobate. What do we do? This is just good, right? Don't forget this trick. Knight e4, f4, queen h4 check. We're gonna grab the b. B, B, B. Beautiful bishops, right? After this, this. Okay, his knights are decent, but I still like black. We got our pawn back. We're up a pawn. We're actually up a pawn. Sweet. Alright, so instead, Astrobate just did the mundane. D takes e4. Yawn. Bishop g7, king g7. And now, surprisingly, white does not recapture this pawn on e4. He castles queenside. Okay. Okay, it's a psycho. That's fine. Castling queenside in the King's Indian. I've talked to various people about this before. Castling kingside in the Marazzi, for example, usually rely, you know, it's just a sham Shankland theme. See if we still can't get it. Move 11 put some magic block on the games. I can never like put them in a study. Yabatis, can you get that move 11 study? No, I'm taking the pawn. Why are you giving him a pawn? Take this. He's got a tactic. Move 11 saw it. I mean, Astrobate saw it. Damn it. Knight takes e6 check. If pawn takes, knight takes e6 check, bishop takes. It's like Astrobate got me with knight f5. Astrobate got me with knight f5 in my simul last Sunday. Here's another flash tactic. Yeah, this looks like Caruana versus Vacher Legrave. Ugh. It's not good. He's got the sneaky tactic. So Astrobate played queen b6. What about queen c7 and the e5 square? Thank you, Tobias. I think the square is important. Let's see, in the event of like pawn takes pawn, maybe not this, I guess we need to get developed, but just here, I think in a normal Sicilian world, you prefer c7 to b6, right? You want to keep the b pawn mobile. We've got vital control of e5, and there's some action on the c file. Now I realize that sometimes we'll want to have the rook in front, but I'm thinking Astrobate here made a slight inaccuracy with queen b6. He saw the tactic, good job, but this square might be more accurate. Here, now knight e4, white trading pieces, Astrobate not trading pieces. I think you should take this. I mean, it devalues white's pawn structure. There is some danger, perhaps with the f-file. You'll have to calculate that. Nevertheless, it's still a solid move. Knight d7. About equal. And then he goes back, which is really weird. Losing time. Knight c5. Ladies and gentlemen, the queen is pretty stable here. He takes out this. There's no b4. I would say it's time for e5. I think that black is about to play e5. And there it is. Just in the nick of time. Now white needs a square. Oh, shit. Something's going to happen here. Bishop f5. I mean, I would assume g4, rook d8 is coming. I don't think it really matters which rook. You might want to think about the f rook to give your king an escape square in case of a pawn storm. Oh. Is that important? I guess better option would be to play knight d5. And the game is on. After knight d5, pawn d5, bishop takes c2. Black is clearly better. Very strong knight. But it might not be over by any stretch. Yeah, it's not over. My God. Oh, he could also have played queen e3, keeping that bishop controlling d3. Wow. So this particular move was a massive blunder, leaving the d3 square open. Check. And he played the best move, ending his pain quickly. Mate. Unleash the dragon. Oof. Mate on b2. Masturbate's getting stronger. Was that a blitz game? He's ready to break 1700 in blitz. Masturbate, you did that once before, right? Alright, subscribers to the stream can submit games. So far we've had Yabatis, Warnaki, Tazek, Astrobate. This is not a subscriber game. Next is Princess Chess versus Terrapin. Do we have the final? Okay, we've got enough games. Princess Chess. Are you here? Probably working. He still had 3 minutes and 30 seconds at the end of the game. He doesn't look at the clock. He told me a million times. He does not look at the clock when he plays. But he lost 2 games on time this week, which is it's very unusual. That will happen, Aspate, when you don't look at the clock. I guess as you face stronger players, you might have to start opting to look at the clock during the game. G6. This is cool. By the way, I just wanna say, Princess Chess really should play d4. I'm a teacher, you know. I understand it's easier to like transpose to what you already know. You know, it's like I hope that he transposes to the classical openings, but objectively, the right move is d4. You want to strive. I'm teaching people between the range of. Basically, I teach people between the range of 1,000 and 2,300, and I would recommend this to everybody in that rating range. I mean, you want to try to establish this doesn't matter if you're 1,000 or you're 2,300. This is like you've got to aim at having the optimal center. I mean, this is a huge advantage. If you don't want to do that, then what do you want? You know, G6 again. Of course, we should play D4. All right. Instead, Princess Chess here is still like kind of hoping for a classical opening transposition. This is more of like a closed setup. E6, Ibadas and I have faced quite a bit. Bishop C4, summon unsound against me in these type of structures. Black hasn't played E5, so his Bishop C4 is justified here. It's kind of like the Bodler attack against Sicilian. Maybe worse. I think E6 at some point is going to shut down this bishop. So black doesn't opt for that, but instead D6. And now H3. I would call it like a chicken setup. but it's not that bad. I don't know, it looks a little feeble. I think at this point black should think about e5, but it's probably transposing, although this might be a decent position. Alexandra, I beat her. I have no recollection of the game. I think it might have been a... I don't remember. I suspect it might have been the St. George with black. But maybe I'll look it up one day. I'm not sure if it's in the database. First Saturday GM tournament. I beat the young Alexander Dmitrievich, but I do not remember the game. H3, knight f6, d3. So it's basically like white's playing the Joko piano. Houston, we have a problem. How about a5 for black? I prefer knight a5. At least you got the square right, Warnacki. I've been trying to push the Nimzovich on everyone tonight. But you like the Nimzovich, right? Can you please explain to me what's happening after knight a5? Yeah, I mean, I just said that before. I like e6, move 11. This is reminding me of the 1900 I lost to yesterday, when I shouldn't play when I'm tired. But d3, knight a5, grabbing the bishop pair, black is fine automatically. You can't do that. Interestingly, if rook e1, knight takes e4, this is something I was lecturing Asterbate on earlier. Bishops are worth more than knights. So, this is basically a fancy way of trading your knight for a bishop. Rook takes d5. Nice doing business with you. Or obviously, bishop takes f7 check, king f7, rook e4. Have a nice day. I don't like this for white. You know, maybe it's playable. So what did white do wrong? After knight f6, we can play knight c3 yet. But what about this? But she doesn't want to play knight c3. See, her problem is that she doesn't have a system against the Nimzovich, and that's why the Nimzovich is a good opening. Here you have a player, well, actually her opponent is 2353. Not well prepared for the Nimzovich, you know. I don't know what to recommend. I guess queen e2. I mean, at that point, black can play e5 and transpose to a decent sort of setup. Is it possible white just has like nothing here? A nothing burger? It's a nothing burger. Because of h3 or d, or was it not playing d4 against the Nimzovich? So let's see with the knight c3. Nobody had the guts to play knight takes e4. This is very common. Bishop takes f7, king f7. Oh no, it might be scary. My king's on f7. It's completely fine for black, it looks like. Well, the engine is even giving black an advantage after d5. But it's true, he has to be very precise. d5. Man, d5, knight g3, this is a great square. For example, e5. So there appears to be one place that is dangerous. Like here, check, king g8, and now c4. And that's freaking Nimzovich. Freaking Nimzovich. 99 out of 100 players wouldn't even find this line for white. h6, cd5, queen d5, and knight takes e4. It's still very tricky. So Dr. Tripchance has a different line. Knight c3. Knight takes e4. Knight takes e4, d5, bishop b5. I don't really get it. This just looks bad. No, I think you have to go into that. But I mean, the funny part is like white has no, I guess really Princess Chess. I mean, bishop c4 is one thing, but it's like you're playing this kind of passive setup, and then the h3 is like too much. You can't do h3. That's just too feeble. If you want to play d3, I mean, honestly, I guess you could try something like a3, and give the bishop a diagonal back, or maybe rook e1. Queen e2, I was saying like if queen e2, black might consider playing e5 at some point, because the queen is not that great here. Anyways, alright, knight f6, d3, castles. Black misses knight a5. Really important move. Really important move after knight a5. Is there anything here? Check, c6. No. This is just awful here. It's just stupid for white. Man, Demchenko versus Zhubov from the Ukraine. Are you kidding me? Demchenko played like this with white. This is a nothing burger too. This is, wow, better for black by half a pawn. Not recommended, but you can feel better, Princess Chess, knowing that this has been played by a strong grandmaster. Castles, c3, and now we have the out here, saving our Udasin bishop. So c3 is a good move. Now the unthinkable knight e5, maybe not that bad, but whatever. This is worth considering, I would say. I would consider this. I know you have a backward pawn here, but at the same time, I mean, black's structure is pretty messed up. Black's bishop now sucks. I don't know what Leonid would do here, but he would seriously consider taking that knight. I mean, if you don't have a serious issue with this pawn, if your bishop can maintain its position there, I guess we should consider taking. Your move is safe. I mean, this is a ridiculous move, by the way. Knight e5. I mean, what is black doing? That's insane. I mean, knight a5 like wins the bishop pair. It's crazy. Oh, sorry, different position. Knight e5 now. It's still a bad move. I mean, black needs to develop here. Whatever. A6. E5 transposing. See, this is Princess Chess is trying to transpose to the Joko. E5 is a transposition. And then white just has like a normal position. He's playing like really weirdly with bishop e6. That doesn't look right. So e5 is kind of unpleasant. We have like permanent pin there. That doesn't look good. Black's position isn't easy, to be frank. I don't like it. What he just did. He wasted time with knight e5. And in the meanwhile, like, your queen is developed to a good square. You have the ultimate pawn center. You're not losing your bishop pair. The whole position is transformed into like a nightmare for black, basically. And now this move, okay, at least he's like trying to trade pieces. Force you to play a more tactical position. Clearly you're better here. I would just consider taking and then maybe backing the queen off to a safe position. But I mean, this position is definitely better for white. Everything is protected. His only plan is like knight h5, and you could even shut him down with g3. You have perfect structure, excellent bishop. His bishop is restricted by c3. It looks bad. Real bad. I wonder if black could try something weird like knight d7 maybe, but that's still better for white. So this is also a reasonable move. A bit more, more ambitious, I guess. I wonder if black should consider here. There's the move. Finally. Yeah, Princess Chess, when you're talking about knight takes e5, that's like a critical moment in a game where there's like two distinct paths and they're both valid, but you really need to spend your time there thinking about not only like which is objectively better, but which is better for you. Like what kind of position is better for you given your strengths and weaknesses as a player. If you're the kind of player who plays for like small static advantages and more closed positions, maybe like that's better. A5, reasonable move, grabbing space, and then A4. There is this idea to develop and use that space based on A5. I'm big on rook pawns, but Princess Chess play is very fundamental here. You might be a little uncomfortable not being able to get that rook off the long diagonal. So I expect black has to watch for this. If b5, he could run into trouble. There's a possible queen sack. Believe it or not, this is not uncommon in the Pierts. Just like a different version of that sack is in the queen e2 line. White's probably clearly better in this type of position. But I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. So the game was actually queen c7, so he's thinking. I thought he was preparing b5, but instead he goes for break. He's going with Warnaki to Benoni land. Yeah, the position is getting kind of weird. I'm having second thoughts about knight f1. I mean, frankly, Princess Chess, it is a primary square in the Joko, but this is not a Joko. You can't keep playing like you're playing the Joko, where an opponent hasn't even played e5. This is a different position. You can't be too attached to the same plan from what is essentially like a completely different opening. Maybe knight f3 in some positions. I admit it's not easy to find a move here. This is an option. I don't like being lined up on that c file, for example. Maybe bishop d3 isn't bad. Queen e2 with the idea of knight f3. Possibly queen e3, actually. You have lots of interesting squares to the queen. Queen f4. Giving your queen some prospects. Another idea you might want to consider is a3. Because I'm really tired of babysitting that a pawn with the rook. And that will cut out any of this a3 nonsense by black. Here I'm having trouble deciding what to do. I normally try to restrict my opponent's play. So I guess d5 would be instinctive. Let's say d5, bishop d7. See, now Princess Chess, our hero, finds herself in a Benoni, but probably a pretty good one. Let's say bishop f4, threatening e5, if knight h5, bishop h2. I like it. Now black is okay. He has targets on this pawn. He has pressure on the c file. I think this is a really important moment. I suppose like taking isn't that bad either. Bijak, your game? Oh, we're not gonna. We got a game from last week. Yabatis, do we have a game from Bijak? Alright. Let me see. Sumer. This was sent last week. The Morphe style. I'm having scrolling issues. Alright, I'll add this to the study. I think I'm frozen. There. That'll be absolutely the last game I can do today. If we get that far. If I survive that long. Cooking Rooks, yeah, I'll expect to see a game for next week. So, B-Doc, let me know if you have to go. If you need to, I can push it up earlier. Alright, we're going to go back Princess Chess game. Ugh. Keep getting lost. Thanks everyone for joining me for the subscriber stream. So, for some reason Princess Chess always has long games. Let me see, where are we? We're on game 6. Wow. Alright, flip the board, get to the position. What is wrong with this position? How are we doing on time? We have about an hour. So Princess Chess made this critical moment decision. How to handle the center. You've got the option to push. You've got... No, I didn't even talk about e5, which I was looking at this earlier. Again, variations of 3 pieces for the queen. This is very interesting looking Benoni, which also looks promising. I am a little concerned about that and that. Pinch point and the diagonal and the weakening of the c3 pawn. But in general, it feels good for me. The other option would be to play bishop e3 and just like recapture here. Or finally, like you taking. But I think this is the move I feel most drawn to. Let's see what the engine says. I like the tempo with d5. Yeah, bishop e3 is second best. But Princess Chess, you have to learn to think about restricting your opponent's pieces. You know, this is about taking space, but also, excuse me, keeping that queen like out of the game. When you play this move, you defend your bishop, you keep your center, but you allow this black player now to have access to the half-open c-file. You're not using prophylaxis to restrict the enemy play. And I'm concerned about your d4 point. How are we going to keep this protected? Take, queen b6, c. He's immediately like on the d4. Now you have to go back. Oh, I was expecting queen d1. So now she comes up with e5. Unexpected. You played very cautiously, so I was surprised to see that. And then a very, very crazy move by black. I mean, it's sort of shocking that black wouldn't play pawn takes pawn here. It's kind of a no-brainer, I would think. Take, 97 and target this. What does white do? I guess Knight g4 drops a pawn, so knight d5. Knight d5, queen c5. It's complicated. I am not certain what's going on around here. I'm a little bit worried about like that. This pawn. This is protected. d5's hit twice. Knight f4. I mean, black's going to snarf the e5 pawn. Our bishop is hanging. This looks bad. I'm afraid we're just overextended. But black's decision to play this move, like... To play this move here, really? Alright, so his point is that d5 is knight takes e5. Who the blank cares, right? What if you just call his bluff? You're like, okay, d5. Knight takes e5, queen e4. He has f5 there. Okay, that's fine. We'll pick a different square. Queen e2. No, this doesn't work. Alright, never mind. It just doesn't work. Looking for something for white here. Knight d5 is looking feasible. There's no queen c5 in this position. So takes. I mean, this is what I would have expected. E d5, then d5. Thank you. E d5. Sorry. If e d5, then d5. This is like nothing special, no. It's a move, yeah. Maybe. Bishop d7, knight c4. It's complicated. Again, this bishop's going to haunt us on the c file all the time. The stupid bishop is like does nothing, and it's like hanging in every variation. That's why I don't like the way she let black open the c file. It's nothing but a liability. Even earlier, I said she should play it to d3. It's a huge liability for white, that piece. So the game was takes. And I guess d5 now, right? And now knight e5, because he's a tactical genius. He's a positional genius and a tactical genius. So where do we go? Queen to d1. Nice and passive. This is a square. Famous. Effing genius. There's f4. There's some funky squares, but black can take this. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing there, right? There's always e6, and it's just a dead end. Lock it down, baby. So she has to go to the passive land. Queen d1. And then black played bishop c8. So their knight wouldn't get trapped, because they are a tactical genius. Do you think black does a few tactics puzzles now and then? The tactical genius. Bishop c8 providing the escape square for the knight on d7. Queen f4 loosed. Amos. Princess Chess, seriously, how greedy is this move? Lionel Spoon subscribed to tier 1. Subscribing for 2 months. You're like asking to get this face plant here with knight d3. Man, I would be strongly considering this. So the beautiful bishop pair. I'll give you a knight. For that bishop, I've got screaming bishops. Both diagonals, the rook like a benko. Your extra pawn is this weakie on d5. I think that's pretty cool. Black's definitely at least got compensation for the sacrifice pawn there. Does he have something better is the question. What does he do? Ugh. 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 It's gross. F5? That's so primitive. I mean, alright, he's got to do something. Black's a creative player. Yeah. I guess it's not that bad. I still like 93. The computer has the ultra subtle B6. Are you serious? Why is this not good enough? It just doesn't think this is good enough. Takes, rook takes, really? How can black not have compensation for a pawn here? Are we looking at the same position? That's nuts. I can't believe it. Slowly the computer is like, well, alright, you know, maybe. Wow. I can't believe it. It just doesn't think that white has comp. I mean, black has comp here. It's begrudgingly giving white like plus 0.8. I would be like really scared I don't have enough. What am I missing? Is something with knight c4? Yes! Move 11. If bishop d2, bishop c3, many a benko has been capsized by that exchange. Bishop d2, bishop c3 takes the fun out of life. Yeah. So he goes f5. Alright. He dropped the pawn to the greedy princess chess. And then went for the initiative with the f5. I like it. Alright. f5, f4. What about f4? I'm going to need to see your ID to play this move. I would, you know, f4 is basically like, I think f4 here, it's sort of like getting rid of Donald Trump from the Republican Party. Like, you have to do it. It's painful. There's going to be some tough days ahead, but it's just necessary, because if you don't do it, you know, you're going to be facing very strong counterplay. You have to just come to the realization that it's time to play f4. And yeah, it's tricky. So let's say knight f7. Yeah, they're crazy moves you come up with, Dr. Tripp. Now f4 pawn is hanging. That's pretty important. How is white going to protect that if she does play f4? I'm saying like she'll have to go rook back to f1 or something. Alright. f4. Bishop e3. f4. Now black has some really legit counterplay. Knight c4, bishop c4, f3. Slicey dicey. Yeah, he's got good play. Princess chess with the brilliancy of the year, though. Wow. He thought he was cool for f3. Then slicing this e7 pawn. That's what you get, kids, when you do your chess puzzles. Rook takes e7. Black unpleasantly surprised by this. Oof. Now we're talking sacking the exchange, I think. This is real legit. You know, at any moment, white could maybe eliminate that dark squared bishop. You can't take the rook, of course. It happens. Look at this. F takes e2. Now, seriously, Princess Chess, I wouldn't automatically recapture that pawn. You might want to think twice about capturing that pawn. Of course, black is threatening bishop takes h3, but at least we want to look for something else first. Do we have anything else? I mean, maybe you're not going to get a second chance for that rook takes g7 sack. I really don't know. This is pretty sharp, and your king side is shot. I mean, I don't know. I guess, alright, we'll take it. It's scary, though. Black has a lot of threats. Then he played b5. Not really sure what's happening. My default move here is bishop b3, and I'm cool. I want to know what's happening here. Why? Obviously, bishop takes, that doesn't work. Alright, but what about this? Why can't we just maintain the status quo in this position? Is there a problem? Do we have a problem? Am I missing something? A trap with queen e2. Lazy. No, it's a good exchange sack. Is it necessary? Not clear. Maybe you're not lazy. Maybe you were greedy. I expected him to play queen f6, actually. What's happening after queen f6? Bishop e3. Drop a piece. You would trade queens and take the pawn, right? That's a lot of pawns. But it's probably okay for black after this. This pawn is toast, I suppose. So probably white is still, you know, at least holding what looks like a draw. Maximum. But he doesn't want to trade queens. Takes this. Bishop e7. Back. Here. And then a very aggressive move. Bishop g5. I was anticipating like bishop e3 for so long. This move, are you going to play f4 and like lock it in there? Because that's interesting. Whoa, I was expecting now f4. See, this I'm not in love with. That's a bad thing. When your rook is like blocked behind your pawn, we really don't want to do that. So what about f4? How about an exchange sacrifice? It looks like anybody's game here, honestly. You know, I'm not really sure what's happening, although that's a problem. Yeah, your king is even more open than black's king. What's the move? Rook f1 is best. That f4 is busted. Wow, this actually wins by force. Holy crap. That takes some serious calc, right? Oh, I just didn't go far enough. That's it, man. It just wins right away. Oof. Thank you, Stockfish13, for finishing my thought. That just loses immediately. Wow. But I don't want to get in a situation where I have to play rook f1, you know? That's your problem here. In fact, come to think of it, why not bishop h6? If you're going to put the bishop somewhere. Does black have this type of stuff? Not a good idea. You know, this looks a little bit stronger, doesn't it? If g5, then you take. Queen here. But it's still not clear. Like queen g4, you're probably fine. Bishop h6 is actually stronger. Or not. The engine like refutes every move I come up with. Rook g7. Oh man. The rook g7. I said queen g6 and rook g7 just wins. Wow. So bishop e3, truthfully, was reasonable. All right. I don't like your rook stuck on f1. Wow. Nice move by black. So he really is good tactically. Obvious draw here. After rook takes c4. There was a land shark at the door. And he had to answer it. Alright. Next game. Trip chance. Miss Sarlsberg. But seriously, this is Dr. Trip Chance playing white against Aldisto from the thematic tournament on Tuesday. Bishop d7. So, I know this variation pretty well. I've played bishop d7 a lot. Bishop takes is normal. G takes is normal. Now, most common is like bishop e2. Well, actually, I'm thinking of something else. First, queen d2, then rook c8, and then usually takes, bishop e2. This is a line. But there's nothing wrong here with what Dr. Tripchance did. Take, knight f5. Knight f5 I lost to Sergei Kudrin once. This knight f5 has a very good score. It's kind of awkward and hard to play for black. But Dr. Tripp just played knight b3, which is not as sharp, not as aggressive. With knight f5, the knight can go to f5 and pop back to e3. Knight b3 is just kind of like avoiding theory. It's probably not bad. Black gets in f5. But Aldisto didn't know that because he doesn't play. This was a thematic tournament. Once black gets in f5, he's okay. So apparently this variation has been played. Let's see what the oracle says. Queen h5 is best. F takes e. Knight e4. It leads to interesting play. The queen is a little scary on h5. So this is what Dr. Tripchance faced, h5 instead, preventing queen h5, interestingly. And we're basically in very obscure theory. Now, without the available queen h5, I mean, do you consider maybe queen d2, allowing bishop h6 and meeting that with f4? Where should you put your queen? Okay, there's a game here with f4 right away, which would be similar. Well, I don't think you're a maniac. H4 is kind of a positional idea. I lost to Udasin once in a classical browser where like this happened, where he did like bishop e2, and this pawn falls later on. This isn't maniac move. It's kind of strategic. A6. Aldisto actually plays a lot of variations where he doesn't castle kingside. He doesn't like to castle. So he's probably fairly comfortable here. But this, you're basically just hunting his pawn on h5. It's a very pragmatic way to play. Now he goes rook g8, and I don't know. I mean, I would anticipate king f1 or g3. I would think you would play strategically. Yes, he could save his pawn. But does saving the pawn save black's game? Is black, like, strategically busted here? Because, like, after 95, I'm thinking it looks pretty dubious anyway. I guess he tries this. I mean, you could take this if you want to. Maybe rook g4 isn't so stupid. He actually has some play on that pawn. But I'm skeptical of black's structure. I don't like the look of black's structure here. And I also don't like trading off my white square bishop with black. So I think here you could be more patient. You allowed rook takes g2. Alright. You have a passed h-pawn. You're going to castle queenside. There's a problem with the c4 square. Now. Maybe it's not urgent. Castles, bishop g4, yeah. Bishop g4 just is a random move, I think. Black's in a difficult position. The h-pawn is dangerous. He's stuck with his king in the center. It's hard to coordinate, but maybe still possible. The problem is knight d5. How is he going to counter like a knight coming to d5? I guess we could play rook c8. Something like that. According to the engine, white is better. Significantly better. What's the best move? Rook c8. Yeah, I don't have anything better to suggest other than rook c8. I think this is strategically wrong. And he's playing for this sort of cheap shot, bishop h6. That'll never fly against you. King b1, knight f2. He does have a double threat here, actually. Wow. Okay, just defend it. Not so easy. So here, if rook f2, queen g4, this is pretty deep. And if knight f2, you have queen f3. Does that make sense? No. If knight f2, we just play like rook g1 or something. Check, doesn't help, and the knight is trapped. Is it trapped? Basically, it's not trapped. I'm getting confused. So what's happening here? Rook df1, df1. Just tactically winning for white. Everything's tactically winning for white. And everything is just tactically winning for white. Perfect. Strategically and tactically crushing black. And this square was just a matter of time. So he's hosed. There's no chance. Outside pawn. He just sacked a piece now. Maybe this was a good try. What? What did I miss? Oh, you have rook g8 check. Oh shit. He thought he had bishop h6 but forgot about rook h6. Alright. Bishop h6. He forgot about rook g8. It's winning. There's no defense. And white's just up a piece. Just a matter of technique. This very neat game by white. I would say like pretty low CPL. The opening wasn't played correctly, but it was very high level play after that. Alright, next game, B Maximus. B Maximus versus Chekitus. Oh, your favorite variation. Welcome everyone to the stream. We're still going over subscriber games. We've got B Maximus, JNS, JCS, one of our mods, Move 11, and Sumahair. Guys, you can always check out the streams later on my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. I always do upload the streams over there. B-Jock, what's up? Redeem, highlight my message. 3 smileys. B-Jock, what's up? You want to do your game next? You have to go to bed? Is Grandmom calling? Let me know. Alright. You check it always on Twitch. Yeah, you can check them on Twitch for a certain time, but they do get taken off. That's why I talk about the YouTube channel. B Maximus versus Lara Unuk. Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe I played her a Blitz game. I've never met her. The Slovenian ladies. So let me understand. This is a simul? What's the time control here? Are you saying this is from a simul game? Yeah, most players aren't as generous as me with the time. So your patented variation, the Goldman variation. Alright, so she goes with d4. This is a principled move. Bishop c4, e6. Closed position. It's similar to the Dunst. So this is like guess theoretical line for black, but it's not often to encounter queen f3. The advantage of B-Max line is that a lot of people don't know what to do against this. They don't bother to study it. So it's playable, and the players with black haven't spent time on it. Knight on c to e2, and now knight f6, dubious. The Ulko guy played it. He's brutal in blitz, very good blitz player from Chess Assistant. Yaroslav Ulko played this position with black. I have a bad blitz score against him. I don't know, knight f6. WJLIF, welcome. Okay, I mean, you can understand why black plays c5 mostly. It becomes a kind of Dunst. We can reinforce the pawn on d4. That's the most common strategy. But there's some alarming games here. Sengupta lost. Korpabense lost. Some good players. This is a good line for B-Max. It's kind of underrated, the queen f3. Good sideline to play and surprise people. I'm not exactly sure what we're doing after knight f6. White's pieces are a little bottled up as well. So d3 anyway. Seems very natural. Naroditsky played a lot. That sucks. You know, you don't want to be playing something that a popular chess streamer is playing. Better to come up with something unique. If someone like Hikaru is playing it, it's going to be very, very popular and probably not a great idea. You know, like b3, which Nakamura plays all the time. Now everyone plays b3, but it's like, if it's on the bandwagon too long, it loses its surprise value. This maybe not so much. Thank you, WJ for the beer fund. Next week, I expect a game submission. At the lower levels, B Maximus, this is still going to work. C5, Queen G3. This is one of the main ideas. Attacking the G7 pawn, I would assume. And so we're following some random games here. Well, you can't play bishop e5 because of queen a5 check. Otherwise, a Nimzo-like approach could be possible. Though I guess it doesn't make sense to waste time. But what is Black's plan here? I don't know. e5? I mean, if White plays f4, that's too late. So you played a super reserved move there. Wow. No, but I mean, I understand she's going to play b5. That's the threat. What about a4? You're going to have to worry about knight b4. If a4 is stopping b5, then knight b4, and this pawn is a big pain, you probably can play like king d1. Somewhere recently I saw similar positions of this nature. It may not be that absurd. Check this out. This is 0.0 according to the engine with the king on d1. I don't remember if I was looking in this line or something else, but almost identical type position where it's possible to just like put your king on d1. Believe it or not. You know, not everyone would like to play like that. What about other options? Yeah, b5 is a big problem. So he stops it for now. a6, she's got a one-track mind. I feel like I'm doing like color commentary. Black's trying to play b5, a4, and now she's like, okay, I can't do that. You know, you may be threatening to fix the queen side here with a5. So, a normal positional player would play b6, right? The standard plan is b6, rook b8, b5. How is this? Is this too slow for Black? Wow. f4, you start rolling. That would make it look kind of slow. The engine is evaluating huge advantage for White now. So she tries to do g6, f4, knight f3. You've got all your pieces built up like a closed Sicilian. I mean, basically you've got a Caro-Kann player in a position where it looks like they're playing the black side of the Grand Prix attack. I don't know if she plays other openings, but a player who only plays the Caro-Kann is going to be, you know, someone who plays just the French or Caro-Kann is going to be uncomfortable here. They don't know what to do against this type of Grand Prix sort of formation. This was a heads-up move, though. Queen c7 looks good. Trying to stop f5. We've got queen h4, rook b8, yep, but a5. So here you should have just shut her down with a5. I mean, you're just better positionally. You don't even need to let kill her with an attack. It's a very Nisbichian type of edge for White. This pawn sometimes gets weak, but not in this case. You know, I don't know. I guess she could try, I don't know, knight d7 and trying to play b5 or something. It looks bad. So you just didn't take time and you play g4. Yeah, G4 is really psycho. Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to do that. I thought you might like try some sort of pawn sack with f5 or castle, you know, setting up essentially f5. I didn't think you would go with g4, but I guess g4 is not so bad. This is a problem, though. Black has legit counterplay on the queen side. There's c4 smushies, and if you go to a2, you're putting your bishop in front of your rook. Yeah, this is not good. This trash compactor is the proper name for this. It's a trash compactor. Everything falls apart. It's a total disaster. If you take here, you've got like knight takes e4, and the whole center collapses. I mean, this could be really, really bad. Yeah, you let it out of control. Pandora is out of the box. c4, of course. Oh my god. So everything looks bad there, and you played e5 to like distract her. Yeah, I'm just moving the knight. That's what she did. I mean, I guess she has considered d7, but this is a much more active square. Is she sacking? I mean, is she sacking a pawn here? Exactly. Temporarily sacrificing a pawn. Now, d4 is weak, b2 is weak. But I mean, she's one move away from castling into a relatively safe position. You're one move away from castling. You're pretty opened up. And now, all of a sudden, I don't feel good. I'm not feeling too good right now. This is hanging. There's c2. You have no threats. Bishop d3 just hangs on. Yeah, I mean, white just looks overextended. Yeah, I mean, you're lucky if you can salvage a draw here. Even if, like, you win a pawn, you have massive weaknesses in your position. You're wishing you never played g4 right about now. And she castles, and your only attack with, like, knight g5 can be met by h6. Yeah, I mean, it's basically a miracle. Bishop e7, queen e4, and the diagonal. You can get mated. Yeah, she's looking for all the obvious ideas. I'm sure that I would have played similarly to her. So now you have a miracle, queen h7 check. Does this work? Here, check. Here, knight takes e4. If you can bail out to even like a draw, it would be great. But this might be better than a draw. What the heck is happening here? Knight takes f4. Does anybody know what's going on? Knight takes f4. Rook takes f4. Bishop takes e5. Check. King g7. I have no freaking idea what's going on. Knight here. This is just a sequence that seemed very logical. She's gonna be up materially at the end of this. Damn. Damn, I would have totally bailed on this. You know, I would have played it. But you had more, apparently. The computer likes rook a1 now. It's going for queen h7 now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to get the queens off the board with your king open there, if you got a way to do that, you should have done it. So. Your king is more open than hers. What the what? What just happened? Wow, you trapped her? She's got this insane tactic, knight g2. I mean, you still have these tricks with queen h7, right? What about knight g5 check? King g8, knight e4, knight e1, rook e1. I mean, that looks okay, doesn't it? Apparently not. Am I miscounting pieces here? She's up the exchange. Oh, crap. Alright, never mind. I thought you had another piece. Damn. So queen h7 takes, check, here, takes. And her knight is trapped. Wow. There was a few tactics in this game. Yeah, and the final position is, this is probably a draw. It's just not enough material left. White is starting knight here. I wonder if black has something with like g5, knight d7, rook d5, knight f8, pawn takes here, and like the knight is trapped. For example, knight here, takes, it's just a draw. Everything's a draw in this position. It's got to be a draw. I mean, maybe you have better practical chances. I don't know. What about like rook e6? The rook is really bottled up. What? Oh my god. Whoa. And now you're winning. Now you're totally winning. Check. And the rest is mate in 14. Good game. That was fun. That variation is tricky. Okay, we've got 3 games left and I have to go soon. So we're going to have to go through these last 3 a little bit quicker. I have about 20 minutes. So 7 minutes apiece. This is WCM Nayusha against JNS. It's a Karakan. We've seen JNS before. Was this the same player? Just a different game? We saw this before. This is not the same game. Yeah, this is a different game. I thought. Is this the same game? I mean, we talked about Gaiam last week with bishop e4. Right? I am concerned this is the same game that was submitted last week. Perhaps it's not the same game, just the same variation. His game against Elvest. I like bishop e4. She played bishop e3. And then, I don't remember this last week, though. Same player, different game. White just, like, lets their structure get shredded. I'm not really, like, happy about that for White. On the other hand, like, it happens sometimes in, like, the Aliekin's defense. I've seen strong players allow this. But that wouldn't be my choice for how to solve the problem. I mean, clearly she needs to look this up and and find out about bishop e4, which was a cool line. Best move for white, it looks like. So she did not improve. Black's natural development here with knight d7. The problem is that white just can't get out of the pin, and g4 is very weakening. How bad is g4? Seriously. Can we just play g4? What about g4 and like knight h4? Is this stupid? g4, bishop g6, knight h4, bishop d3, queen d3. If g6 threatening f5, I don't know, move the knight back somewhere. Black's not going to get mated. It's a positional game. White wants to win with the queenside pawn majority. This is nothing about mating black. Black just, white just wants to get out of the pin. Why is g4 so bad? Is my question. So what if we go with this, like, whatever, on the next move? Why is g4 not a move? See, knight g4 here, knight h4. It's playable. But I mean, for me, anything's better than what she did here. I don't like this, like, my structure getting destroyed. This looks awful. Bishop takes f3. In my opinion, like, black's fine now. I wonder if we could do g6 in time. Black now played bishop h2. I mean, this move looks absurd. We've got to get some control of the position. So g6 with the idea of f5. Speaking of knight f8. It looks like black's fine. You got to play g6. White hides the king on like h1. They try to do the g file like Joseph Henry Blackburn. We play this. We'd like to play f5, knight f6, maybe knight f8. But I don't like white's structure. But bishop h2 is a really bad move. Now white's threatening f4. White played what? Queen g3 check? Excuse me? So, I guess she was just like taking it easy on him or something. There was kind of a strange continuation here. I guess white was playing blindfold. That's the only possible explanation. It was a blindfold simul. White must have been playing blindfold and then freaked out and played king h1, allowing queen h3. Now bishop h3 is a nice move to find. I mean, bishop f5 is a nice move. And it's over. Killing the blindfold simul giver. No, I mean, it had to be a blindfold game by white. That's the only explanation. Can we grind down this ending now? We should be winning the 3-on-1 majority. You need the king up. Get the king up. This is silly. You gotta play king g7, get your king side rolling. I guess it's not that simple though. You gotta watch out for f5 in the right moment. It might be saving the game. But I think if black is very careful, they should be winning here. There you go. There you go. Now it's over. Those pawns are the way to win. It's precarious. 97 is a strange move. Keep the pawns together. You don't want to get separated by too much. I would be more likely to play like king h5 and keep the pawns together, keep the whole unit together. I mean, there's still a chance now. I don't like how these pawns can get blockaded. This is good though. The whole unit is functioning together. And we're winning. My only explanation for that game is blindfold. Alright, but anyway, she needs to work on her Carol Khan. So, we've got move 11. Serious game. The metronome. Metronome is white. Move 11 is something of a musician and loves to play on words. He's playing white. It's e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6. Whoops, I got into something weird there. What is that? Why is that there? f3 against the French is not recommended, by the way. Keep that in mind. Alright, so d5, knight c3, knight f6. Classical French with c5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop e3. Poison pawn variation. This is old school. This was popular in like 1991. I mean, I remember Jay Bonin playing this back in the day. We came up to a tournament in Boston. But then it like went out of fashion completely for black. I'm actually supposed to be looking at this from white side. So, this was ragingly popular around 1990, and then it just fell off the face of the planet. No one played it anymore. The other move is a3. White can play a3, not going to poison pawn territory. But the fun variation is knight a4. Knight a4, queen a5 check, and let's see what happens. So, move 11 plays queen d4. Excuse me, queen to d2. Let's look at this line with knight a4. Knight a4, queen a5 check, c3, cd4, b4. This is technically the refutation of the system. I think move 11 knows this. Knight takes b4, cb4, bishop takes b4 check, bishop d2, knight d2. And, well, I mean, back in 1990, like, I guess the theory wasn't fully worked out. So 30 years ago, it was considered to be interesting still. Maybe in a practical game it still is, but the score here is like devastating. I mean, white has 69% winning percentage in the main line. Every variation, they're like 43, 50% winning. I mean, if there's ever been a statistical sample size in an opening that's relevant, I mean, this has got to be it. The knight recycles back to d2 and black is like down a piece. The point is, like, statistics say that this isn't good enough for black. So technically, move 11 should play knight a4. If there's not a good reason why not. Now, there are some games there. Duda playing it with black. A match against Karyakin or something. So maybe there's some new ideas. The other option is the Nigel Short. Alright, here, queen e2. So this is like really less common. But I mean, normally I thought that black takes the pawn. I feel like I had to play this once on World Chess Network. Why would I have played this? Because it must have been like a thematic. They had thematic banter matches where we had to play certain positions. Like I remember playing the black side of the Dutch. I have the feeling there was a thematic banter match where you had to play like the poison pawn variation of the French. And I was like, what the am I doing here, you know? I've never played this variation other than that. that banter match game. I have no idea who it was against or what the result was. Maybe Tom O'Donnell or someone. I don't know who I was playing, but I don't even remember what happened. Maybe some Canadian player. The former chess site that was run primarily through Canada. Years ago, I used to play on there banter games. Rook b1. But anyways, that did not happen. Black does not capture this pawn on b2. Normally queen b2, rook b1, queen a3. And I was out of book when I had to play this, the time that I played it. I don't remember what I played. I mean, I think I probably played something like knight b5, having no idea what I was doing. And like later realizing that the book is this or something. Kamsky Verushin. I don't know. But Move 11 has a game here against Metronome. With queen d2, cd4. Alright, we have to take, right? Now they take. Oh, maybe this is normal, actually. Queen b2. It's a lot like the poison pawn Najdorf, in a way. Rook b1, queen a3, and now bishop b5. Okay, so this is theory. No, this is theory. But I mean, the problem with this variation, right? Is that knight a4 just busts it. You know, you can't play it. What is this? cd4. If cd4, knight d4. Queen b6. Oh, this is interesting. I mean, I can't remember that game all those years ago. So black can play it by this order of moves. With a cd4 first. And then rook b1. And then queen e3. So that's proper, I guess. Black shouldn't allow that. I mean, this is more accurate. Taking this way and then playing it. And now you have to play a3. Because the idea is queen b2 or knight a4 trapping the queen. Or go into it. Or there's some weird moves. Queen b6, game, queen d2. So Move 11 should definitely play knight a4. Queen d2, queen. Now we're back in the other line. But he exchanges pieces on d4. Nick DeFermian. We trust in Nick. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4. Black just played. He doesn't grab the pawn. So this is just like a chicken variation where they trade the pieces. A form of chicken. Nick versus Paul Cornelissen. Whoever that is. And the guy just walks right into knight a4. This looks like a round 2 game from the US Open or something. I'd never heard of Paul Cornelissen. But he was 22-15. Anyway, this is like bishop for free. We're in good shape. Standard oil. Knight takes c5. We're following the Fermian game. And so here, it's funny, there's kind of a flashback to a Velimirovich game I remember where Velimirovich did something crazy like b4 in a similar position. Yeah, that was a game, another game. Slovak players or something. This also looks reasonable to me. White is just positionally clearly better. I don't like Black's game. But Move 11 played bishop d3, which is a new move. That's actually similar to the Velimirovich game I was thinking of, where this sort of dynamic happened. White's still better, probably, if you take with the pawn. But I could see situations where Black's able to get enough counterplay to get his bishop out, and he's probably hanging on. Yeah, a6 isn't really right. You don't want to put any more pawns on white squares, dude. So 11 says this is exclam. Triple exclam. Dude, Nick knows his stuff, and he was in his prime in 1992. Very, very good openings, especially, well, with both colors. I think the Fermion was good all around, but excellent in the openings. You think B4 is more natural to stop castling? Wait. B4, Queen B4 to stop castling. What does that even do? Yeah. Yeah, it's embarrassing. I mean, black has to play like knight d7 or knight a6. It's awful. If queen a5... Nick was gonna like sack a pawn. He's like offering this pawn on c2 for development. That's devastating. You can't go into that. Yeah, so this isn't as good. But I don't like a6. King h1? You're more paranoid than me. Then that's probably like pretty far out with king h1. I was thinking of centralizing the king on e3 personally, move 11. I've been known to play the unjustified king h1. I'm the first to admit it. I did it last year against one opponent after a long walk from the bus stop. But king h1 looks a little weird here. It doesn't seem justified. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not too late to play like b6 or something. King h1 is like, man, I've got a homework assignment. Think a while I finish my homework assignment and I'll get back to the game later. b5, c3. Last chance. I mean, if 94 were blockading. Man, you just have f5, don't you? What are you going to do here? You can't stall anymore. You have to play f5 now. Give me a break. There's some crazy lines here. If knight takes d3, you could play f6. How sick is that? All because of king h1. King h1 is so relevant here. We're just... Poor move 11. He has this. Black has this. 95. Bishop e5, d4. The only way to fly. But we got this, right? Here, here, and then something like rook f2. Oh man, rook f3. I meant rook f3. King h8, queen h6, rook g8, and then like rook g1. Now he has to sack the queen. What am I talking about? It's mate. I said you had to sack the queen. So embarrassing. I saw it. Yeah. So that's how strong white's position is. The guy can like literally take your bishop and you just ignore it with f6. And he's probably getting mated. Seriously, I guess king h8 here. Maybe he could survive somehow. But I don't think so. Take, queen d3. This is over, dude. This is totally over. He has to take on f5. Okay, so if he puts his bishop here, he has to, yeah. We've established that. This is like forced to move. Now, that's kind of a threat, so I like rook takes, and you're just rolling with the rodeo, man. I don't think this, not even Irina Crush is going to save this position for black. Yeah, this is over, dude. Positional smash. Computer is like, no, it's not over. There is a defense. Knight d3 and queen g6. Seriously? Alright, then we take with the bishop. Keeping that queen off that square. I mean, let's stop and go back and turn the engine off. I gotta go soon, but it just seems crazy to like play bishop b7 and then have to come back, you know? Why even play bishop b7 in the first place? This is crazy. So white's totally winning piece with queen c3. Whoops. Damn engine. You see everything. Except for that problem. I told you guys you should have played b6. I never wanted to put my pawns on white squares. Are you kidding me? Why is black playing b5 anyway? It's gross. Anyway, it's a very bad position. We'll see what move 11 did here. He meant queen c3. I wouldn't have seen it. I wasn't looking for tactics like that. Rook e1. Student body attack. Anyway, you can expect knight e4 in the near future. Oh, there it is. So move 11 is going to play around it. Oh, that's a good move. Rook fd8. So now, there it is, f5. So he builds a bridge on the white squares. Maybe black has chances to survive here with white square. For the love of white squares. That's the wrong white square. This is a little more active. He knows about the white square secret. That's pretty good. Ooh, risky. You're weakening the base of the pawn chain. I was expecting the F file. Move 11, at what point did you realize that king h1 wasn't really relevant in this position? Alright, rook h4, g6. Ugh. That's maybe the worst game ever, the worst move ever. Move 11's opponent literally played g6 voluntarily. That's insane. That move, I mean, you need to pay good money to get black to play that move in the normal circumstances. The computer will be like h6 all day, or no moves. Actually, move 11 has bishop b6, right? No. It's not so simple. He's got too much counterplay. No, we don't want to do that. Dude, what? Guys, I gotta go. Last 10 minutes. So, why does this not work? Can I please? Take me to your leader. Knight g3 check. So we can't say can we see this variation, please? f5 takes. There's no knight f2 because of this. Knight g3 takes. Queen takes e1 check, king h2. Then I'm very curious how black defends against the threat of bishop takes g6. Take me to your leader. I think we're kind of toast. Oh no, he has that queen b1. I can't believe it. Move 11 sees everything. He has queen b1. I'm like trolling and I thought it was over. And he's just taking it. Oh my god. I feel sick. I still want to believe there's something here. Even down a rook. All because you had to go and play king h1, move 11. You realize that, right? You just had to put your king on h1. Because on g1, everything would have been fine. Went on a dark square. There's no knight check. There's no dark square bishop that can get us. He didn't see that 20 moves ago. Alright, still. Can't believe it. f5. It's not so easy. Damn. Let's see what the oracle says. King g1. Exclamation point. Triple exclam. King g1 threatening queen h6. Emery Tate would have seen it. There it is. It's obvious you should play king g1. Now what's he going to do? h5? Oh my god. The secret move. Black lacks the counterplay to stop the threats of queen h6. That's it. Game over. Alright, instead, rook f4. Move 11 refocuses on the f file. And then I don't know what's happening here. Moments of panic. So you got bishop g6. How do you feel about bishop g6, my friend? Isn't that kind of interesting, at least? I guess it's not enough. Damn. Too many pieces. h4. Oh my god. And you played king g1. That's embarrassing. Seriously. Easy choice. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ridshoot, for the hype. Correct. Absolutely correct. Easy choice. What, you don't want to watch the St. Louis Chess Association streaming about the Elephant Gambit or something? The latest Hikaru scandal? No. Good choice. Nah, move 11. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry to bust on you, but this is so sad. Like, you played king g1 after all that. Oh my god. Now he's like begging you to sack a piece on g6. I'm thinking it works. Now I really need to see. Take me to your leader. This move just kills your spirit. Like queen e3 trading pieces. I offer a draw. You know? Offer draw. I think that's gonna like break my heart when black plays queen e3 now. But this probably doesn't work. I don't understand. What is black going to do, actually? He has to trade queens, right? It's a draw. Take me to your leader. Queen e3. But at least it's a draw, move 11. Move 11 is a specialist at drawing. He's a draw specialist. No, I'm just kidding. He hates draws. Almost as much as Emery Tate. Bishop takes e4, queen e4, rook f4. It's a draw anyway. This is a draw, pawn down draw. Respect draw. Actually, it's not a draw. I mean, black's better. But the guy had been tortured enough. Now maybe it's a draw because a6 is dropping. He had enough scares. All right, last game for today. Sumaher. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. Sumaher with the last late submission that I forgot about. It's not my fault. It's never my fault. Guys, don't forget to check out our Discord YouTube channel. Tomorrow we're going to be back with Blitz in the morning. Sumer is white. The Sumerian. Sumaharian. Thanks, Move 11. I didn't mean to bust on you too hard. But it was kind of comic tragic, you know, the way that you had to play King G1 at the end. That was just... feel for you. So Grunfeld, no, this is a semi Tarash. That was good fun. Now, Bishop E7. This is Sumaher playing against the Schieberspieler defense. C5 is like a forced draw in the right hands. By the way, Sumer, you know, you might want to consider other options. You don't have to play E4. I got a lot out of, there are other lines, you know, G3, E3, take your pick. There are other options. The problem with C5 is that it leads to massive amount of simplification. Now Rook B1 is popular. I guess I should look at that myself. I haven't ever played this. This has been, well, since I came back to chess from poker in like 2015, right? I haven't really studied theory that much, just what I've seen in top tournaments just by streaming and stuff. And this Rook B1 variation, for example, like didn't exist until the recent past. Yeah, E3 I like to play because it keeps pieces on the board more. It gives black more ways to go wrong. But Bishop E7 is kind of random. So you have a nice center. It's like a good... I always thought of it as a good Grunfeld. Like, black's playing the Grunfeld in a passive way. With the bishop... If you could play the Grunfeld, do you want your bishop on G7 or do you want it on E7? Okay, it can transpose to Petrosian Queen's Indian. But in Petrosian Queen's Indian, my pawn is on A3. That's actually, I think, a weakness for white. The pawn is easier to attack. It's a minor factor, but if I can have my pawn on A2 or on A3, I probably prefer to have it on A2, where it's like less exposed. Maybe I'll play A4 later. Yeah, so here, I don't know. I normally would go for Queen E2. If we play Queen E2, we have tactics with D5. You know, like line opening sacrifices, like D5, for example, here, right away. I've seen some wicked games where people got slaughtered. Bodies were piling up. Seriously, does this work? This looks really strong. Very easy for black to slip and like make this mistake. It looks like we have strong play. If he tries to take the pawn, was what I'm saying, like this. It looks like deadly. But Rook E1. Because the main idea with Queen E2 is that our rook comes to D1, oftentimes. And you did D5. Yeah, I mean, well, this is one of the reasons why black plays C5 instead of Bishop E7, obviously. But he should castle first. If he castles first, you don't have tricks any longer. So now you're just going to have to play chess. He still has C5, right? I mean, you can still do Queen E2, but I'm not sure about this lineup. I think I prefer my rook on D1. So what happens in the game is he gets in D5. This is a strong move. There might even be, and I don't know if this is going to work, but you should definitely consider it. You can try to smoke him with E5. You know, this idea of E5, E6. What's black going to do? Like knight F8? Maybe it holds, but it looks really bad to me. You know, Bishop E5 check. Ugh. So it's possible that you have a sack here. Let's see. sort of sealer sweeper. Yeah, the computer doesn't buy it. It says that black's hanging on. Okay, so keep those options open, and whichever one is better. You played this pawn sack. You know, a different position on e5 might be very strong. So now bishop e5. Whew, and the threat of this. Wow. That's like deadly. This guy, this guy, this guy. All the pieces are just dead. Yeah, that's much stronger than e5. It looks like black is lost. What if he... Yeah, I don't know. I don't even have a move. He looks like he's just lost. You know, so... At the end of the day, he's screwed. Like, he has to play castle. And his pawn structure is shot to high hell. I mean, you have to be, like, at least winning a pawn in this position, right? Pawn takes pawn, and this is... There's no way that pawn is holding on. Probably take bishop c4. I would imagine you at least win a pawn. At the minimum. But that's still better than what happened in the game. At least here, like, your pawns would be broken up and he's only losing a pawn. In this game, he's just, like, dead. Nice. Do you have anything better? Wow, he actually managed to castle. Is there a better move here, like bishop g5? Guys, I gotta go shortly. But again, thank you for joining me for the stream. For these cool games. Appreciate it. Bishop g5 is also interesting. Black's holding on there with bishop e6. Is he? Wow, there's some amazing line. Look at the computer. Bishop c4. I didn't even think of that. That's sick. So we'll just show you quickly the rest of the game. I gotta go, guys. Very nice finish here. Bishop takes f3. So you should have played g takes f3. Just keeping the pin with the threat of bishop g5. As well as queen d6. This was a blunder, though. Taking with the queen, you let him out for a moment. He might be able to survive now. Queen, he doesn't have move even here, though. Rook a7, pin. Now he just drops the bishop. It's over. That is really sick. And mate. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back tomorrow morning at around, let's see, 11 a.m. CEST. I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone again. We'll see you on Friday morning. Bye-bye.